but it's not the insecurity. Insecurity doesn't bother you. Insecurity, is wonderful. If you could predict everything, it'd be pretty dull, and then we'd be robots again.
Well, yeah, and like what you were saying about unpredictability versus predictability and creativity, like you need a sense of insecurity, non-predictability.
So you're going to go out on stage and you're scared you're going to be rejected.
Yeah.
What's the worst that's going to happen? Really the worst.
I think in that moment, like I was thinking about that as we were talking, it feels like I'll be unloved forever and for the rest of my life.
But let's talk about the mechanics of it. Let's get into it.
Okay.
You go out on stage, you make your entrance. You're in a Shakespearean. You've been in Shakespeare recently, yes?
Yes, yes.
So you make your entrance, and suddenly there's silence.
Yeah.
You know why there's silence?
Because I'm so bad.
You're not either is so bad or you're just totally blank.
Yes.
You go out on the stage and everyone's expecting, and even the audience knows the line's supposed to come.
Yeah.
They can all say it, but you just don't know where you are. Maybe you mutter something totally incomprehensible.
Yeah.
Okay, now what is going to happen? Oh, you do have some critics in the front row. They start writing.
Yeah.
So what's going to happen?
I think in that moment, I just feel so worth nothing.
Wait. It's going a little further now. I hear some boos coming from the
Yeah,
audience.
God, it
and some guffaws and some people clearing their throats.
It's the worst.
Yeah. No, and
it just feels so, it's like such rejection, like so.
What do you mean
like
you're not,
like no.
they're not rejecting you.
Right.
They're rejecting your performance.
That's where I get confused.
You are confusing you,
Right.
yourself,
Right.
with what you do.
Right. Completely.
If that's removed, that doesn't mean you don't have a type of, what I might say, sharpening excitement for the challenge. But you come in touch with a part of you that is invincible, authentic, congruent, and unique. And that is indestructible.
Right.
Everyone starts throwing things. They put a spotlight on you, and then people start making fun, and then they're yelling, Allison Mack sucks, and they do all this stuff, and finally someone comes out just with a hook and just pulls you off the stage. And the next day, the picture in the front of the New York Times, full thing is you on stage going with a hook, pulling you off the stage. And they say, biggest flop ever. Do not ever listen to Allison Mack again. She's a bad actress, a bad person, terrible, terrible, terrible. And then just your name and the words terrible, terrible, terrible written. And then not only that, they take it and they put it all over, and not only on all the street corners, but in everywhere where you go, they plaster that picture up so everyone sees.
Yeah.
And they have people following you, holding that picture over your head, and they point to her like bad Allison, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
It feels awful.
Yeah, it's okay, but are you alive?
Yeah.
Are you fine?
Yeah.
All right, and the alarm rings and you wake up and it was all a bad dream, and are you still all intact?
Yeah.
So ultimately, it doesn't bother you,
Right.
the self.
Right.
It bothers your evaluation of yourself through your performance.
Right.
But there's a part of you, if you believe in a soul or creativity or whatever, that's transcendent of your performance.
Right.
And that's the very part that allows you to change your performance. If you were hooked to the laws of physics without having any sort of a separation, then your performance would determine your performance, which would determine your performance, which would determine your performance. And just like a snowball rolling downhill, you really wouldn't be able to change the course of events. But the beauty of our possible delusion that we have free will is that we can change the course of our events.
I mean, that kind of leads me to my next question, which has to do with authenticity. Because then it seems more like the creativity comes from a place of just originality or like soulfulness, if you're looking at it in a positive light.
Authenticity and creativity are an interesting match. We don't like to think of ourselves as robots. And if you are coming off as robotic, most people say that's somehow inauthentic. There has to be an inauthenticity to that. Because we're not robots. So what does it mean to be authentic? When someone's authentic, you feel them. You have this feeling of a soul there.
Right.
Not a robot, not some pre-programmed, contrived face or something along those lines. It just seems to come naturally from their experience of existing on this planet. From the time they are conceived and they become a child and grow and all of this thing, they gather this unique impression of existence. And authenticity somehow is a manifestation of all of that. And it also relates to wisdom. I always say wisdom is taking your life experience and being able to apply it in a decision. It's a global way of acting as opposed to a narrow way where, I feel like doing this. I'm not thinking of anything that ever happened to me. No lessons have ever been learned, and I'm just going to go and do this thing. Likewise, authenticity has no additional layers of artifice, no trying to be something that you think you should be. It's just a pure state of being. So one would say authenticity is being as you are and expressing as you are, at least to some degree. And as you are is, of course, the sum of your whole past. So when someone's being authentic, you get the feeling that not only that there's a person there in the moment, but somehow you reach into their very essence and you meet a unique individual.
I don't know why that makes me want to cry. It's beautiful.
Well,
sorry.
I think these are all things that we strive for. We strive as individuals, we strive to break through a type of existential isolation. We want to touch someone. We want to know that other people have souls. We want to experience this. We want to experience connection, things like what we call love, and compassion, and even something like, as I said, connection or rapport. Some people call it an energy or whatever, but now we're not talking to a machine.
Right.
We're talking to another human. And even if that human is a machine, somehow we imbue it with we even ask the question, is this thing alive? Is this thing thinking?
Yeah. Okay. So.
But why do you think that's
so emotional for me?
Yes.
I don't know. I think because it seems like it's something that I feel like I want it. Authenticity, and I think.
What do you want about authenticity?
I think that there's a relaxed kind of exchange that happens between people when there's no pretense. And it seems like to me those are like the most moving, most meaningful, most important moments in life.
I'm not disagreeing with you, but why?
Yeah, it's funny. I mean, it feels like in a silly way, it's like that's where love is. Like that's where I guess it's the existential thing. Like it feels like two souls can like come together without any sort of barrier or boundary. And somehow there's completion or not aloneness or transcendence in some way that feels like it's the root of my motivation in a lot of all the things that I do in life. And I guess that's probably part of the reason why I have such an obsession with like art and creativity and things like that, because it feels like the sole purpose of those things is to generate that kind of an experience for people. So for me, it's like the most important thing for an artist to understand how to do is tap into authenticity and then share with the world that experience so that other people can feel that too.